Was an adulterous woman turned into a half-horse by some form of witchcraft? Or is what's going on here nowhere near as mystifying as it appears? We're going to go ahead and take a closer look because perhaps I can clear this up just a little bit. And if you would like, please be sure to go and watch the whole original video, as there was a little bit more going on there than what I could show you in that short stitch time frame. Now let's start the breakdown. After digging into this video a little bit more, I discovered that the origin of it is in a place called Tanzania. And just in case you didn't know, Tanzania is just south of the equator in the eastern portion of Africa. So take a look at this survey chart that's on the right. As you can see, the people who populate the area of Tanzania have a firm belief in witch doctors and the art of witchcraft. And it's important to note this is not the only video of this style that I have come across in the last few weeks. Notice one says a cow, one says a horse, so I think we need to have a look at a little anatomy. This is what a horse hoof would typically look like. Notice, unlike the video that we have watched, there is no crack going down the center of the front of this hoof. So this is the hoof of a cow, and I have to say, that definitely looks a lot more like what we see in the actual video. After placing the two side by side, then looking at the original video, which is in the center, you can definitely tell that this was the hoof of a cow, not the hoof of a horse. So I'm not sure if that was just misinformation or if the video was actually trying to deceive us right out of the gate. And given the fact the ground looks like loose sand that you would find on a beach, it probably wouldn't be too difficult to dig out a small hole for her to kneel down in to hide her legs. And even if part of her legs were showing, that dress is long enough to definitely cover it up. Now in the second video I found, this ground looks a lot more sturdy, but it still could be done. It's just going to take a little bit more effort. So if you did go back and watch the whole original video, you will notice that this lady has a tail. And this tail to me definitely does not resemble that of a horse. That is, unless it's been very much cut down. To me, it more resembles the end portion of a cow's tail. Now I have found some examples of horses who have had their tails trimmed. However, for me, it still more resembles the tail of a cow, which I firmly believe is fitting for someone who has slept with a married man. So there was also a portion in the original video where the lady seemed to be able to move her tail by her own power. However, through my process of still framing, if you look here at picture 2 and 4, directly above the tail there is a small white line. That string is most likely being pulled by one of the innocent bystanders that are in on the act. Before you disregard my "they dug a hole to hide her legs" theory, take a look at these two photos. It would not need to be a very big hole to hide a woman of her size, just to climb in and kneel down and then cover it with a dress. It's also important to note that there were no men anywhere in that video. And the reason I say it's important to note that there's no men in the video is because perhaps in this specific culture, this is a rite of passage. Perhaps this is a life lesson to the younger women of the culture, showing the younger women what could happen if they step outside of their boundaries and decide to sleep with a man who is already taken. And in almost every culture, committing adultery is very much frowned upon. I think what we're looking at here is nothing more than a demonstrational format to show younger women of that culture why they should not commit adultery and the repercussions that could happen. But that's just my opinion. What's yours?